Hello, I am just going to try to quickly explain what's going on with arrays of records. So you've done parallel arrays, you've learned how to take a big chunk of text like this and split it up into, well, in this case it'd be 4 lists. So parallel arrays would be reading all this in and storing it as a list of like forenames, indexed lists like that, 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, Nicola, Max, etc. And then a list of surnames, and so on. And the same for a list of sports and a list of, in this case, the number of goals they've got. And we end up with these in parallel, which means if we've got index number in 1, so if I'm looking at index number 1 in forenames, I know that corresponds with index number 1 in surnames and in sports and in goals. Okay, and that would give me one record of information. That's just one way of organizing your data, but the alternative here, or an alternative that you need to know about for Hire, is to use an array of records. So with this, what we do is we set up our own data type, our own record structure. So in my little demo, I think I give an example. I call my little data type, rather than string or boolean or integer or float, I call it Olympian record. So this is just my new data type, and I'm saying that this data type has in it 4 fields. One for forename, one for surname, one for sport, and one for how many goals. So I can create an array of Olympian records. So what that looks like is, if I take all this stuff, if I go through it line at a time, then if I have an array called Olympians, so there's my array, just like these were arrays, except this time I am within that making it Olympian records. So I've got a little sort of subheading, forename, one for surname, one for sport, and one for goals. So it's one list, one indexed list, just like these were, but it has 4 headings within that list. And so what we then do is we organize it like that. So exactly the same data is stored, except instead of working with 4 arrays, I'm working with 1 array. But I can then refer to the different fields inside there. So that means now if I want to refer to any particular thing, so for example, when I wanted to refer to this particular item here with parallel arrays, I would just do surnames index 1. Whether I'm assigning something to that or printing it or whatever, that would give me that particular item. In this case, if I want to, I suppose I better do the exact same one. If I want to refer to that bit of data that says Whitlock there, then to refer to it, I talk same as before. We give the array name Olympians. We give the index number 1. But that alone, Olympians 1, would give me this whole record here. So if I want that particular piece of data, I use this dot notation. So I do Olympians 1 dot and then the field name. So the field name, so the column heading if you prefer, surname. So that with parallel arrays will give me the right piece of data. This with an array of records will give me the right piece of data. And really it's kind of programmers' preference how they choose to organize it. You can do the same things with both. There are some advantages and disadvantages, particularly in different situations, depending on what the lists are like and so on. But really that's only for very advanced programmers to consider, and certainly not something we need to worry about. For now, what you need to know is that at higher level in the coursework, you might have to read a CSV into parallel arrays and work with them, or you might need to read a CSV into an array of records and work with them. And in the exam, you are guaranteed some questions where you're doing like standard algorithms, but it's working with an array of records. Okay, so have a look at the other videos. Hope that makes a little bit of sense. Just two different ways, parallel arrays and arrays of records, two different ways of organizing the data. Okay, bye-bye.